Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm back. Had to leave for a while. Had a few acquaintances I had to meet tonight. I mean, it is Saturday night. FYI, we had UFC on tonight with the heavyweight championship belt on the line between Cain Velasquez and Fabricio Verdum. I always liked how he had Doom in his name. Kind of hard to get by, you know. Where he just would smash people and to get, to the fight, to the belt. So that was going on tonight, so I had to stop and everything that I was doing and, go check that out. And now that I'm back, I have, since it's Saturday night, I have, whatchamacallit, Tsunami playing in the background. And thank God for Tsunami. I mean, back when I was in middle school, they were on in the middle of the day, family hours and whatnot. Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, they had all that going on. Now they got like Attack on Titan going on, which is just something else completely. Oh wow. I always dug Attack on Titan. That was one of those things I caught on Netflix. Way before it ended up on Toonami. So I watched the whole complete Japanese version. It was just one that I put on. Maybe they gave it like a spotlight or something. Who knows? Either way, when I came across it, I was like, alright, I'll watch this. Just background noise while I draw, of course. Always looking for things to just put on in the background. That's kind of like the whole casting for whatever I watch while I draw. Any artist who works, you either have music playing or you got a TV show playing, perhaps a podcast, something. And Attack on Titan became just that. It became something for me to put on in the background while I drew. Until about halfway through the first episode. Until they, in the first episode when the gigantic Titan, whatever it's called, kick the wall in, and you see this big old piece of concrete flying across the screen, and you see blood splashing. Came out of nowhere. Spoiler alert, anyone who hasn't seen it, oh well. It's been out long enough. At least that one has. So yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was just like, sold. And I've been watching it ever since, man. It came on Toonami, now I can watch it in English. And now I'm just waiting for the second season. Like I'm sure the rest of you are. I mean, that show's so dope. With my whole family, it's old friends and new friends, and even then, good times and bad times, and good on the chance, and no place. My happiness just waits, as if the Cleveland show. Right. Alright, so as far as what I'm doing in this video, I mean, it is, what, 3:30 in the morning, Saturday night, so the bars didn't close until 3 o'clock tonight. I went out and I watched the UFC, watched Cain Velasquez try to, you know, regain the title after dropping out for 2 years, and, not that it matters, but as far as my opinion goes on the fights, I mean, the guy dropped out for 2 years. You kind of lose respect for doing that, regardless of injuries and whatever. I mean, you're a fighter, you're gonna have injuries. Like, oh, I'm gonna throw my body into peril, you know, like that's how I'm gonna make my living. And oh, I got an injury, I'm the champ, but I'm gonna skip out on a fight because I have an injury that I obtained in training. Like, look, man, that's what you do for a living. There's no excuse. No excuse. I mean, look, if it's serious enough, sure. But I'm pretty sure it was like a few injuries over the past couple of years. You know, champions, I think they defend their belts, you know, 2-3 times a year. This motherfucker went 2 years without defending the belt. That's like up to 6 fights that he skipped out on. So, you know, you can understand why he has to kind of prove himself. And it's Cain Velasquez, man. Cain Velasquez, he's kind of like known for his whole, I kind of don't gas out. Heavyweights, they always gas out. Cain Velasquez is always like celebrated for his non-gassing outness, I guess is what I'll call it right now. But I mean, watching tonight, and dude, look, I live in Deerfield Beach, Florida. This is miniature Brazil out here. You better believe everybody was going for Fabricio. Hell, I even became a Fabricio fan. He went through the ranks. He did everything proper. He fought everybody he had to fight. He got a fair shot at the belt. He's fighting Cain, properly. There's no shenanigans, no second guessing involved. And watching, both guys' performance in the fight, that's exactly what happens. So afterthought, I don't see no shenanigans. With that said, watching Cain Velasquez with his, 2 years out of the game, 2 years no fighting in the ring with the crowd and everything. It's all in Mexico. Cain with the brown pride on his chest. That's a big deal for this guy, to have to deal with, on top of just a general fight with a guy who's just been killing his way up to the top. And, by the second round, first round, everything was gravy. Everything was everything, no matter what happened in the fight. I ain't gonna say nothing. But second round, man, both dudes looked like bobbleheads off rip. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. That's not even like, oh, he's just saying that. Like, no. That's the way you would define them. Bobbleheads. You ever seen a bobblehead? The head bobbles. Movies put them on, like, when people put them in the front of cars. That's how they're portrayed in movies. Just bobbleheads, man. Like on their dash. Like, imagine you had a bobblehead on your dashboard in your car. That's what they look like. Someone who's celebrated for his being able to keep it upness. It's pretty eye-opening. Pretty eye-opening to see. Couldn't really believe it. And trust me, after 2 years of ducking fights because of quote-unquote, not that I don't believe them or anything like that, but injuries, after 2 years, you gotta fight, man. You just have to. Hell, I didn't pick that profession. I draw pictures for a living, dog. If I'm ever put in a position where I have to draw a picture, if I'm like in his position, you better believe I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna bring it, just as I'm sure he did. But man, as far as that performance goes, didn't look like the Cain that took out Brock, which I wasn't expecting. You shouldn't be expecting that. The man ain't fought in the ring for 2 years. You'd be retarded for trying to, and I mean that with all due respect. You would be retarded to expect that. I used to ride the short bus in elementary school, so you can go ahead and talk about retards all you want. I'm pretty sure I was one of them. I can go ahead and talk about my peoples like that. So I watched that fight tonight, man. Cain lost, Fabricio Verdum won. And like I was saying, this is Little Brazil out here in Deerfield Beach. So, where I was at, everyone was stoked. Everyone wanted Fabricio to win. The way I saw it, I didn't care, man. I didn't care who won at that point. Like, I watched Fabricio move his way up. But after that first round, I was kind of like, I don't know if he's ready. And then as soon as they came into the second round, like I've been talking about, and both of them looked like bobbleheads, and I was like, damn, Cain's supposed to be... Like, that was what held him up this whole time, was like, yo, can't nobody keep the pace like Cain. Can't nobody do it. Like, literally, that was his selling point. It's kind of like, hey, this is a Ferrari, this is a Porsche. He's gonna go fast, and then you get into the driver's seat and it don't go fast, and you're like, hey man, I drove fucking Fiats that went faster than this, or something like that, something along those lines. Not to be literal or disrespectful or anything. As far as that goes, if you're being sold on your being, being able to keep it upness, you better be able to keep it up, is all I'm saying. And that just wasn't the case tonight. That's all. Not hating for life. Like I said, man, when I came into this fight, I didn't really care. I was just kind of watching both fighters for what they were. And what I was thinking as I was watching the fight, spoiler alerts for anyone who's a big UFC fan, maybe don't listen after this because I'm going to be talking about it. But spoiler alert, as far as like the way I saw things going, first round, like I said, man, Kane looked good, Fabricio didn't look so good, and I was like, yeah, this is kind of like how I see the fight going. You know, Kane would knock him, Fabricio would be like, oh shit, he just knocked me, I'm stunned. He'd be stumbling and shit. You'd be like, yo, Kane, but you know, Kane's doing his thing. Kane's doing Kane. Like, that's what's happening. Then second round, not so much. Fabricio was rocked in the first, and then the second round they come out, and that's when Kane looked like bobblehead. And there was a couple of things that I kept in mind while I was watching this fight. I was looking at Kane, and I'm watching Fabricio, and I'm like, man, I wasn't vote for either one, but I was at least putting together what Kane ought not to be doing. Kane's fighting a Brazilian. You don't want to go to the ground. First round, you watch the fight, Kane, every time he brought Fabricio to the ground with a punch or with a push or whatever it was, he'd be like, yo, stand up, stand up. Kept standing them up. And I was like, great. You know, if you're punching somebody and they're going down, keep that up. Keep that up. Don't go to the ground, especially with a Brazilian. They got all that jiu-jitsu all up in their blood, man. I bet Fabricio don't even practice that shit. He just got that shit on lock because he was born that way or something. So for Mexican, for Kane, he's like, yo, stand back up. I'm going to knock you right back down. Just like I just did. And I was like, cool, that's what he needs to be doing. There was, you know, and with that said, there was things that Kane needed to stay away from. He needed to stay away from shooting, because shooting, as we all know, anyone who watches the fights at least, you're sticking your neck out. And on a night where everybody was getting taken out by guillotines, you don't want to stick your neck out. So don't shoot. And every time Kane was knocking Verdum on his ass in the first round, it wasn't from a shoot, so it was allowed. So you don't want to shoot. You want to avoid that standing guillotine choke, which he did in the first round. Great. Don't want to go to the ground when you do knock him to the ground, because he's only inviting you half-wittingly to his game. So Kane didn't want to go to the ground. By refusing to go to the ground and telling Verdum to stand back up every time he knocked his ass down, that was smart. And honestly, I drank too much to remember what the third one was. Either way, I had an idea of what Kane ought not to be doing. These guys get to the third round. Spoiler alert. Third round championship, so it's going to go 5 rounds. But it's third round, and this is a heavyweight fight. Heavyweights meaning like both of them were bobbleheads, like I was saying. No disrespect, just calling it how I see it. You go ahead and watch the footage and try to tell me like, nah, they weren't bobbleheads. No, they heads were bobbling. So eventually what ends up happening, and I mean this is after Kane dished out punishment to Verdum, and this is after Verdum dished out pain to Kane. I'm talking about knees and punches to the head and elbows, and I mean these guys are bobbleheads. I'm calling them bobbleheads for a reason, because that's exactly what they were. Watch the footage. Watch the rematch when you get a chance. Or not even the rematch, the replay. And tell me I'm a liar. Either way. What ends up happening? Kane shoots in the third round. And, you know, it's like the middle of the third. It's whatever part of the third. It's not the very beginning. I'm pretty sure it wasn't the very end either. But he shoots, and automatically in my head I'm like, bad move. Don't do it. Don't commit to that shoot. What he do? He committed to it. And what ends up happening? On a night where I watched the prelims that were on regular TV, I didn't watch the other fights that were on pay-per-view. I didn't hit the bar until 11:30, where I caught the co-main event, and then I caught the main event. But in the prelims, I saw the back-to-back standing guillotine choke wins. So that's what was going on this night in these fights, were guillotine chokes. Standing guillotine chokes. There's only so many positions you could go ahead and put yourself in order to, you know, actually get that choke done to you. So these fighters, they're professionals. You know what to do, what not to do. You know how to avoid a standing guillotine choke, I'm pretty sure. Either way, King gets caught, standing guillotine. Nothing happens. They drop to the floor because they're bobbleheads. It's a third round heavyweight fight, and they're tired. So what ends up happening? Tap out, heavyweight tap out. Cain Velasquez taps to Fabricio Verdum off of what I'm pretty sure was guillotine choke, just like the other two fights I saw in the prelims. I didn't see the other fight, so I'm not sure if the whole guillotine choke thing continued. But it is what it is. And obviously, this being Little Brazil, people were going crazy. The bar was going nuts. People banging on the table, cheering. And fuck it, you know what I say? Fabricio Verdum, he earned it, man. He worked his way up the heavyweight ranks. I would love to see Rockwell. I'd love to see him get a shot at the belt, man. That guy's been knocking people out left and right. What is he on, like a 9-piece win streak in the heavyweight division? I'm pretty sure he's number one as far as win streaks go in the weight division. I'm pretty sure 5 win streak, even if it's 6 for Fabricio, 9 for Rockwell, which I'm pretty sure is what it is, or Rothwell, whatever his name is. You know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, that's I'm pretty sure he deserves a shot at the belt, regardless. Maybe something happened, I can't remember, and that's why he doesn't. Either way. Oh, that's what happened. Now that I'm done talking about that, let me talk about this thing that I'm working on. My Ninja Turtle piece. I would like to think that anyone who's watching this video had already watched my older videos about with me working on this particular piece and everything that I've said and knows, explaining the purpose of this piece and everything else. But, you know, maybe not. Maybe I gotta go comic book method when I'm shooting these videos and try to consider the person that's joining in for the first time. What am I? 25 minutes into this video. So let me explain to you what I'm doing. I'm working on a Ninja Turtles piece. And it's not a solo piece. It's not just one. As far as this project goes, this is a 3-piece project. See, this is one right here. And then I have number 2 right here, which is already completed with all the pieces. There's number 2, and then I have also number 3. I have 3 of the same pictures. Not technically, they're not the same, but technically they are the same because they're intended to be the same picture, but due to the fact that it's all traditional media and the fact that I'm drawing it over and over, separate sheets of paper and everything, there's small details that get changed. You watch my old videos, I'll actually explain them as I'm drawing over them, as I realize them. Don't exactly remember all of them at the moment, but there's obviously subtle changes in all of these. And the reason why I'm doing 3 pictures well, let me tell you that I drew this picture a year ago. Last August, last September, something like that, in 2014. And what ended up happening was that right in the middle of working on this picture, my computer crashed. And I was still working in Photoshop and Illustrator back then. And what ends up happening after I repair my computer, I lose the programs and I can't work in digital anymore. Which is fine. My roots are in traditional. I've been looking for a reason to get back into traditional, so it's almost like a godsend to me. So I don't have no problems. But I had this idea for this picture, and I've held off on it for a year or whatever to do 3 different colors. And there are 3 different colors according to the original Turtles. Original Turtles, black and white. So one of the 3 are going to be black and white. Second one is going to be all red headbands, because originally, whether you know it or not, the original Turtles were all red headbands. One of my favorite concepts, one that I call back for regularly, but obviously I'm nobody, so it doesn't get heard. I'm sure I'm not the only one who wants to see them. And the third one is the current colors, where you have the 4 different color headbands. You got the blue, the purple, and the orange, as well as the red. And so that's what I'm working on. I penciled everything, I inked everything. I'm in the middle of inking the last one right now. And then starting tomorrow morning, after I finish this one tonight, I'll start coloring them. I haven't figured out which one I'm going to do first or second.
That would be crazy, right? You know, if you took your phone on and wrapped them around my waist and pulled me in close. Oh yeah, right. You like this? This is hilarious. I love you, Leon. Come on, get in here. Roberta, next time we do a makeover, I see no doubt that I'm a man who likes to live.
And as far as what I'm working on right now, or working with, I'm working with my with the small nib. If I hold it up to the camera, you can see there's an S. Stands for small. After I get done working with the small brush, I'll be working with the extra small. I work my way down. I work my way down the brush pantheon, or the brush nibs. Start off with the big brush, to the little brush, to the medium, to the fine, to the small, to the extra small. Reason why I do that is because I work with a mechanical pencil on 11 by 17 paper for whatever reason, and it opens up the opportunity for, a lot of heavy blacks, like you see in this corner that I worked in with the big brush in a video a couple of videos ago, as well as this shadow down here. And I worked my way down to, like I said, I'm on the small. All I got left is the extra small after this. Working with a 0.5 or 0.05 lead. I got some really thin lines sometimes. As well as the heavy shades. Oh snap, I got a SuperCon commercial. I'm working on this picture right here for the SuperCon. Look at that. I'm super stoked for this con. It's the first big con I've ever worked for, or worked on for, whatever you want to call it. So obviously I'm optimistic. Whether my optimism is misplaced or not is, will eventually be learned. But until then, I'll continue loving what I'm doing and just keep it up. Got a new friend on Facebook. Yay. Always loved how Toonami has Cleveland show playing. I'd be like, what? Either way, I think I was talking about the brushes that I use, everything like that. These brushes that I use, I work my way down. I'm all the way down to the smalls. This is probably the brush, quote unquote, most exciting, just because of the amount of lead I'm able to cover with this brush. Probably most of it's done that way. I draw with a 0.5mm pencil, and the whole point of while I'm inking, personally, is the whole point is to cover all my lead with ink, and that's strictly it. I enjoy my pencils. I believe in my pencils. Anything that I do with the pencils, I'm down with. But back with the lack of experience, sometimes my pencils would get lost in the inks. So my current method, as far as working from the bigger brushes down to the smaller nibs, kind of helped expedite the whole method and cover up everything from thick lines to thin lines that I make with the pencils with my mechanical pencil. I don't know. If you ask me, I'm pretty sure you could see more of this picture now than you could when I first started. Like I said, man, it's because of this brush right here, this pen. Alright, what am I coming up on? Coming up on 40 minutes, and I think I got most of the things done that I could with this brush. I'll look around before I jump to the extra small. While I'm doing these things, the hardest thing I feel like I have to do is honestly capture my pencils with these inks. Meaning sometimes I'll go over a thin line or a thin pencil line or a pencil marking that I make, with a thicker brush than what I would originally intend for. And it's only due to inexperience and whatnot. And because of that, I feel like I'm alright. I'm always trying to remember that I have a smaller nib to work with. The only time I don't have a smaller nib is when I'm working with the extra small, and by the time I get to those, most of the lines are taken up. So at the moment, I'm trying to remember, you always got a smaller nib to work with. You don't necessarily have to go over that particular line with the pen that I have in my hand at the time. You know? But, I'm tired. Especially if I have to sit there and second guess it.
God looked down at the people of Virginia and shed a tear of joy. And that tear was the lunch plate that became useless. But nearby, God threw a catering bottle full of juice in front of his car, and he called the resulting foul-smelling cesspool stool bed. Yes, stool bed. Floating on the bank of a polluted river of garbage and raw soup.
Alright.
It was no surprise when in 1841, Newfoundland was still so
Like I said, I'm pretty sure I got most of everything I need to get done. With this pen. What's it going on? 4 o'clock in the morning? Shit. Why am I still drawing at 4 o'clock in the morning?
Watch out, Eunice. It's the pride of stool bed.
I think I could do the rest with the extra small brush head. Oh wait, maybe not these. What I like about working on these is if I sell out of these while I'm at the convention, I always have the opportunity to do more. I mean, they're all somewhat original. Obviously the pictures, or at least the idea of the picture is a repeat. But as far as the picture itself, original. May not sound like it makes sense, but it does. Trust me, I'm a doctor. Alright, yeah. I'm definitely done working with this pen on this picture. Everything else I could do with the extra small, so I will BRB with the rest of this TMNT picture. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. It is a shorter one than usual, but then again, it is 4 o'clock in the morning, and I have had something to drink while I watch the fights. So thank you anyone who's watching. Don't forget to like and comment if you ever want me to talk about something instead of staying quiet. Just let me know. Alright, peace.